Good evening, everyone. My name is Rocky Kamenian. I'm a past president of ASCCA, state president, and a bunch of other things. um, we we've created today this webinar for information and making the members informed about all the not all, but some of the things that are going to be very, very important as far as the OSHA is concerned. Yeah, without further ado, I have Dave Fischer here. Mr. Fischer has been part of ASCCA for a long, long time in Fresno, and he's also been a president of Chapter 25, correct? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so now he's expert in OSHA situations. So without further ado, Mr. Fischer.
All right. Hey, everybody, how you guys doing? I hope that you had a good day. There's a lot to talk about tonight. So let's get some housekeeping out of the way first. There isn't questions on this thing because there's a lot of things to cover, and it's going to be as they said, it's going to be presented. The other reason that there's not going to be questions, you know, when I posted this post on Team Talk, I got a lot of people saying, "Hey, can you give me the list? Hey, can you give me the list? Hey, can you give me the list?" And I get it, I understand. But to give full disclosure, the list wasn't the point of the conversation. What I was hoping to get was conversations, because the reality of it is Cal-OSHA has really changed a lot, and they are extremely difficult to deal with. So I don't want you to feel tricked, trapped, or anything like that, because you weren't. The truth of the matter is, if I gave you the list, it would not help you. Not at all. Because what it is a list that the enforcement officers walk into your business, and it looks something like this. Okay, that's all it is. Now, on it is a bunch of different programs and different things that they can, by choice, choose to bring to your attention and fine you for. What I really want to do is bring this list along with this list. You notice there's two, because they have 4 different lists in total, and come to your shop and actually help you strategize a plan for you to get and stay in compliance the easy way. I will, because I want full disclosure and I want to be very straightforward, bring these lists with me. You can look at them. You can see them. We can talk about them. We're going to strategize about how to get your business in compliance. So let me follow all of that up with this. What you guys were really asking for was the wrong question, not the list. How do I get compliance? How do I put myself in a defendable position? That's the important thing. Now, it's a challenge today. And it's a challenge today because Cal-OSHA has totally changed. They're not the way they used to be. We now have, for example, underground economy sweeps. And an underground economy sweep is when 3 or 4 to 5 different agencies come into your business at one time, and all of them want to talk to you. You got the Department of Labor, you have Cal-OSHA, you have Hazard Communications, and the oil and all of that coming into your place of business at one time, and 3 to 5 different cars. Now, here's the thing about that inspection. And the stuff that you're getting tonight, see, my goal is to give you guys the very best Cal-OSHA webinar that you can get, especially related to automotive repair. Does that sound fair? Because that's what I want you to get. I want you to have an understanding. I'm going to give you a lot of information. You've already got an invite to invite me out so we can strategize with you and your company, because the truth is, every shop is different. Geographical areas in California is different. Why? Because in geographical areas, they're looking for different things consistently. How many times do you think that they're going to be looking for a heat illness prevention program, an outside heat illness prevention program in Monterey? Probably not very often. But you can bet they will in Los Angeles. You can bet they will in Fresno. So they have, just so you know, this is Cal-OSHA and OSHA in its entirety, not just automotive repair, to be fair, 1,600 regulations. That's a lot. Okay. So different areas, different shops. Some shops are bigger, some shops are smaller, some shops have this, some shops have that. Every shop is different. So every time I walk into a situation, after all these years, my brain is going like a computer. I'm looking for things I can't see. I'm looking for things I can see. And my brain is constantly, it's going down the chart. I'm doing the checklist, and I actually have a physical checklist that I bring with me of about 3 or 4 pages. So that's what we do. Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's just talk about this for a minute. Cal-OSHA is losing their minds. They are flipping out. And I say that because the one I'm holding right in my hand, that's dated 2014. This is 2025. Their material that they carry out themselves to the shop is 11 years old. Isn't that exciting? So what does that mean? Well, it means it doesn't have a COVID program in it. It means it doesn't have the new indoor heat prevention program to check off your list. It means it doesn't have the violence thing they started putting together a couple years ago. But this is what they walk into your business with, that or this. And this is 2014. This is 2008. Pick your choice. What that does is open up the door for a lot of whatever Dave wants. Whatever Dave wants. Because you see, they're not dumb. They know about the new programs. And I don't appreciate the way they handle that. I can't do anything about it. The only thing I can do is get together with enough people in business to help them protect their rights and to make sure they're where they need to be in case Cal-OSHA comes in. Here's another new nuance. And this really just has risen up in the last couple of months. In days gone by, you could go in, or they would come in and they would say, hey, the boss isn't here. That's cool. We'll come back. They're not doing that today. They're grabbing an employee and they're doing their walkthrough. I got a call from a client and he goes, David, he says, Cal-OSHA is in my office right now. The problem with that is I'm 30 miles away. And they grabbed my employees and they're walking through my shop doing a Cal-OSHA inspection with 4 other agencies. And my employee told them that the boss isn't here. And they said, that's okay. We'll just grab you and we'll start doing the walkthrough. And they said, don't make a big thing about it. We'll leave a business card when we leave, but we're going to do our walkthrough. That was the underground economy suite. So I want to get back to that for a second. The agreement that they make when those 5 agencies come in, the agreement that they make is each one will do a superficial inspection. So that means the Cal-OSHA person in the group, they're not going to look really hard. They're not going to cover everything with a fine-tooth comb. It's going to be superficial. Almost wish we had some mics on because I'd like to ask a couple questions right now. The question I would ask if the mics were all on is, so how do you think that plays out? to the employer I'm talking about. So the employer gets one of these superficial inspections and they walk away from that thinking in their minds, wow, I just passed a Cal-OSHA inspection. And you know what? It wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was almost easy. And they don't understand that that wasn't the same thing as the enforcement officer coming into their business by himself. And then the other thing you don't understand, because I brought these up for another reason, to demonstrate to you how Cal-OSHA doesn't stick to their own program. In days gone by, you used to pretty much know what you were going to get. Today, you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a nothing inspection. You might get a $200,000 inspection. And for the first time in my life, in my career, I can't tell you what you're going to get. It's like the old movie, you know, Forrest Gump. Cal-OSHA is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. So if you don't know what you're going to get, and they can still come in, then your best bet as an employer and a business owner is to be prepared for all of it, right? I mean, that's really the only answer. The easy stuff is going to fly by easily. So we've got that inspection. We've got the inspection where the underground economy sweep. And what they're really looking for in that inspection is they're looking for drug trafficking and they're looking for sex trafficking. They're also looking for business owners who are not paying their employees correctly. That's why they will ask you for a pay period of your payroll. And they'll monitor that and check that out and make sure you paid overtime correctly and everything else was paid correctly, and that the employees were provided a rest period and a lunch period. But like I said, they're really looking for sex trafficking and drug trafficking. That's that. Then you can have an inspection that comes about because they're specifically going after industries. This year, 2025, they are dedicating the year predominantly to construction companies, and guess what? Automotive repair. Now, when you get into one of those industry per town inspections, they will bypass 3 tire shops to get to a construction company or to get to an automotive repair. So it's just the type of inspection that they're doing. Then you have high hazard inspections where they come out and they're looking for the heat illness prevention program and other things. I don't like, obviously there's a lot of things I don't like. I'm going to give you a for instance that will explain what I don't like. I had a client who had an inspection. It's the underground economy suite. They told him he needed an indoor heat prevention program that just recently came out. So I told my client, I said, well, you can buy one from us for $395. And the enforcement team said, well, we'll give you one. So it won't cost you anything and you're set. So my client decided to go for free. Free is good. I'm all happy for free. So I decided, because I wanted to know, it'd been a while since I'd looked at things like that. So I went on the website and I found the program they were going to give to him, send to him. And I read it. And in the program, it said, now this is what you do because you're an indoor business. Because Cal-OSHA has defined automotive repair shops as an indoor business. It's got 4 walls, they're surrounded, and so therefore it's an indoor business to them, even though we all know you got some pretty big gaps at places in those walls, and it's not an indoor business. So what Cal-OSHA has decided up in Sacramento is that if you are an automotive repair industry, or if you are a construction industry, or if you are a farm, you need to have both an indoor heat prevention program and an outdoor heat prevention program. So, true to their words, they sent him a program. The instructions on the program were, since you're an indoor business, delete all the stuff that has to do with outdoor. First of all, it's way too much work for me to do since I don't know what I'm doing. And even though it's coming, I got to fill out the stuff in it, the information in it. I got to put it together. I got to decide what's indoor. I got to decide what's outdoor and all of that. I don't want anything to do with that if I'm a business owner. I ain't got time for that. So here's the problem though. And I'm saving this for last on purpose because this just frosts my cake. When he deletes the outdoor sections of his indoor heat prevention program, he's just opened himself up to fines from the enforcement team because automotive repair is considered both indoor and outdoor and has to have both an indoor and an outdoor program. So what I'm saying to employers is you need to your best bet is to get a compliance coach and have someone help you because this stuff is a nightmare. So you knew, if you didn't know, Cal-OSHA does have a new indoor heat prevention program for people. They are still enforcing the Cal-OSHA program. Cal-OSHA program. The COVID program. Give me a second. Let me reload my gun here and let me think for just a second where I'm going because I got some notes, but I want to tie it all together. Let's go back for a second and continue on. We talked about targeted inspections industry-wise. We talked about underground economy sweeps. Another way that Cal-OSHA can come into your business is to complain about an unsafe work environment that they either see or hear of. And then the last thing is an injury on the job. So those are the basic ways that Cal-OSHA can come in. Let's talk about some of the potential programs that you have to have on one of these forms. Like I said, I'm referring to one of these, which is what everybody was asking for on Team Talk. First aid kit approval, heat illness prevention program, fire prevention program, hazardous communication plan, material safety data sheets, which are now called safety data sheets. That's how outdated their info is. Respiratory prevention program, and so on. Are they enforcing all of those programs? No, they're not. That's why at the very beginning, I said, guys, let's meet, let's talk, let's help you get compliance and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing in compliance. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. I don't have a problem with that. Let's talk about what happens during an inspection. We've already covered that when they come in, they have the power, they have the authority to go ahead and say, we're going through no matter what you say. And the fact that they would do it for one of my clients when he wasn't even in town tells me they'll do it to you too. So we need to be aware of that. Everything that I'm saying to you, you could have a Cal-OSHA visit and they totally contradict almost all of it because that's how they're all over the board. I'm just telling you what I see. I'm telling you what I know. And yet I can't tie it down to this is the way it absolutely is because they're not that credible. Every enforcement officer that's out doing the inspections is God for the day. He's the one who determines the fines, whether he uses any of these or not. He's the one determining the fine, but he will leave you one of those with I call it a laundry list. And then he'll give you 3 to 5 days, closer to 3 than 5, but somewhere between 3 and 5 days to get the stuff that he wants and to have it postmarked. So like I said, the enforcement officer on any given job site is the guy who makes all of the decisions as to what the fines are going to be, what's going to happen, what he's looking for. And every enforcement officer has different backgrounds. Some of them have electrical backgrounds. Some of them have industrial backgrounds, manufacturing backgrounds, welding backgrounds. They've all got different backgrounds. So that means they're all going to be looking in a different direction. And it's just like with all of my years of experience of doing shop inspections, I would still have a different thrust than most of the enforcement officers. And that's just the way that it is. And we kind of have to understand that and not really get upset about it. It's just the way it is. So the easiest way is to get and stay in compliance. That's the easiest way, because once you're there, you're there. And if you got somebody helping you and working with you, and I don't care who it is, but if you got somebody helping you and working with you, in fact, one of the attorneys that I work with, we were having a conversation. And I asked her, I said, do you think it's possible today for an employer to get in compliance with the California labor laws and Cal-OSHA and handle that adequately so that their business is actually protected and they're in a good place? And that attorney said no. The attorney said they may not need an attorney on an everyday basis, but they sure need somebody like you to help them through this, because it's a nightmare and it's tough. So let me see. We talked about all that. All right. Talked about the underground economy sweeps. We talked about the different programs. One of the things that they may ask you for when they come in is, are you doing employee training and regular safety training? And this is more important than it's ever been, because this is another new nuance that in the last couple of years has come up. They will now grab one of your employees and they will take your employee off to the side and they will say to him, because I have seen this done and I've been in the middle of it, when is the last time your employer conducted a safety training topic with you around that was real? I've even seen them, because I've been involved in these, because one of my clients did not want to let his employees talk to Cal-OSHA, and Cal-OSHA said, well, he has to. And my client said, well, I tell you what, I'll let him talk to you as long as David's there. David doesn't work for the company, doesn't represent the company, but I am not going to have him talk to you without somebody being there that I at least know is going to have my interest at heart. And that enforcement officer asked the employees, when's the last time you got a safety training topic? When is the last time you went over equipment that needed to be repaired? Do you feel safe here? It's not a good question to ask if you got an employee with a problem in your workplace. It's not a good place to ask if you're not doing any safety training topics ever, and if you're not really addressing this stuff in any way, shape, or form. So one of the things that I would say to you, irregardless of whether you get a compliance coach, make sure you're doing your safety training topics. Make sure you're upping your game in this area of safety in the workplace, because it's getting more and more and more important, and over time they'll eventually get you. And we didn't used to be able to say that. When I started back in 1997, we had an illness injury prevention program. That was it. Now I can list off 7 programs that you may or may not need, depending upon exactly what you do in your shop. Well, again, all of these reasons are the reasons why I said at the beginning, let's meet, let's talk, let's strategize. Whatever you do from that is what you do. Translation, I'm not asking for anyone to sign up with me at all before the meeting, but I do care. I do care. And I've seen employers get bit. I'll tell you one experience that has never left me. Happened a long time ago. It happened at an ASCCA meeting like this one. I was in the meeting, and 10 minutes after I was in the meeting, they said, let's stop this. We just want to buy. I said, I can't do that. And they go, we just want to buy. I said, no, let me finish. This is an information meeting. Let me finish. 10 minutes later, they came back up and they said, we just want to buy. I said, okay. What is the deal? There's something going on in this room, and I don't know what it is, but you guys do. So what is it? And they pointed to a guy in the back of the room, an older gentleman. And they said, do you see Charlie there? And I said, yeah, what about it? They said, well, Charlie's been in the automotive repair industry for almost 30 years, but he's not in the automotive repair industry anymore as of a couple weeks ago. I thought in my lightning quick mind that he wanted to take the bride and go travel the countryside in their motorhome. Why not? 30 years of working, have some fun. And they said, about a month ago, Cal-OSHA came in and fined him $100,000. And he didn't have it. And I'm so stupid. I'm still saying, well, what did they get you for? Because I want to, I want to help, but it was gone. And it doesn't always happen that way. That's not even most of the cases. And I'm not saying it is, but it's there. It's a potential. So let me take a quick look at this. 526. Let's Ann, do you have those pictures?
I do. Hang on
Can you
just a
put those
second.
up?
I will do.
We'll finish out the meeting with this. When Ann gets these up, what you're going to be seeing is a bunch of violations that I found. This is no way representative of every violation. Let's go to the next page there. Well, she's getting it. It's not all of them by any stretch, but there's probably going to be some things here that you may not be aware of. If you notice, you got your fire extinguisher. It needs to be checked. You see that card on the fire extinguisher? Can you guys see that? The fire extinguisher, the first one on my left. There you go. Thank you, Ann. You see that white card on the fire extinguisher? Every month you're supposed to check that and make sure that you've done an inspection to make sure that the green arrow that's on the dial is in line with what it should be. Can't have sounds really stupid, huh? Can't have your circuit breaker doors open. That is a Cal-OSHA violation right there. I would also question the labeling on that circuit panel as you look at it. It doesn't look too good. Going right next to the big machine, that's your tire machine. If you'll notice on the ground, there is a place for it to be secured into the ground, and it's not. Moving right along is your brake lathe. No face shield. They even get into electrical outlets, as you can see on the next one. That circuit breaker had an opening into the actual unit. So this is all the stuff, I mean, from here to there and much more that I'm not showing you, because there's a whole lot more I'm not showing you, is what Cal-OSHA looks for. And I doubt you walk through your shop looking at things like that often. Circuit panel is blocked. Has to have 3 feet of clearance. Lifts have to be certified every year and inspected. Eye wash station. Not the bottles. No. I know they sell them as Cal-OSHA approved, but they are not Cal-OSHA approved. Cal-OSHA approved eye wash calls for 2 things. Number 1, 15 minutes of continuous flow. Number 2, hands-free. That unit is hands-free. Once you pull it down, you pull that black thing down, it starts spraying water, and it's hands-free for 15 minutes. You need to change your water and those things every 90 days and do treatment, and you need to track that you're making those changes. Is that it, Ann? Is that all pictures? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We didn't have questions. I've told you 3 times. I'm going to say one more time. You want me to come out to your shop? Let's talk, let's look, let's strategize, let's explore and see what's out there. I won't know till I go there. Every shop is different, literally. And there's more things than these. These aren't even half the things that you could be looking at, but I wanted to give you something real with some substance to it. I wanted this to be one of the best Cal-OSHA webinars that you could get with real information that is talking about what goes on in the real world instead of make believe. You know, I'll kind of end it with this. Chapter 5 a few years ago was having a Cal-OSHA consulting team come out, and they asked me to come out because, quite frankly, they wanted me to go to war with them. And I told the guys, I said, guys, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to war with that guy. So if that's what you want, it's not going to happen. They said, well, would you come out just in case he tells us anything wrong? I said, I'll come out, but I'm not going to war with him. I'll come out. If he tells you anything wrong, I'll tell you about it after the meeting. So here's where they made their mistake. When I got down there, the consultant, I guess, heard about it, and he says, so you're the guy. And I said, well, I don't know about if I'm the guy or not, but they said, well, he said, well, they wanted you to come down here to see what would happen. And I said, look, I'm not here for that. After the meeting was over, though, this is where they missed it. After the meeting was over, he and I went to the front, and I said, why are you telling all this stuff to these people when you yourself know it's not true? He goes, it's what management makes me do. I got no choice. Now, all the guys that had asked me to come down there, if they would have followed me and engaged with me by just being quiet and staying right in the vicinity of us 2 guys talking, they would have got so much information in that one night that they would have been amazed, but they didn't get anything. So I'm doing my best to lay it out to all of you, just like it is. Just like it is. It's not fair. It's not right. There's no way for any employer to keep up with all of this stuff. It's just not. So I think they're putting my email up.
Yeah, so can you, Dave, can you go ahead and announce your name and your your company name and email address and phone number, please?
Sure. David Fischer, Fischer. Good to see you, Glenn. California Employers, EMPLOYER''S Services. My phone is 559-284-1912. Email is CESYES2@AOL.com.
It's also on the chat, so if you guys open up the chat, it's over there. You can copy and paste it anywhere you want. The other question that I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, was that can OSHA come into your business without any notification and do the testing and do the inspection? And I think you were clear about saying
I touched on it, but let's nail it. If they're doing actually the answer is yes, they can. If they're doing an underground economy sweep where they have the 3 to 5 different agencies coming in, you're probably going to get less grace at that inspection than any other. If you get an enforcement officer coming in, it's going to be up to him Some of them are going to say, yes, we will put it off. And a lot of them are going to say no. So it's going to be a mixed bag of tricks. But the underground economy suite, probably not on your life ever. So that's the only way I can honestly answer all of that.
So I just want to be clear because this is, we had the same thing with Bureau of Automotive Repair. Inspectors come in, we had the same issue. So let's say they walk in, literally walk in, and they said that they're going to conduct an inspection on your business, safety inspection or OSHA inspection. There is nothing you can do. You cannot stop them. You cannot. Obviously, you can stop them, but it's not. What is that going to do to you if you stop them? If you tell them that you can't come in here, you have to go back and make an appointment. Is that possible?
If they let you do it, you're creating a bad taste in their mouth, and it may be okay. It's just not done very often.
So their expectations is that they walk in, they want to do it right there and then, and they want to leave. That's their expectation of when they walk it in, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what they're expecting. I had one client once many years ago who lied to me. Probably wasn't the only one, but he told me he had only told Cal-OSHA to come back one time. And I did an inspection on his facility, and I got 6.5 pages of violations in his warehouse. And I told him that since Cal-OSHA had already been out here, you need to get this fixed like tomorrow. I mean, I know he couldn't do it tomorrow, but tomorrow. And he didn't do anything with it. And 3 or 4 weeks later, he calls me back. By the way, I found $110,000 in violations as I saw it. He called me back up 4 weeks later and says, I'd like to have my money back from the membership. I said, what? And he goes, yeah, Cal-OSHA came in today and they fined me $110,000. And come to find out in his explanation, it was the third time to the fourth time that he had told them to take a hike. And this time they bought in a UPS truck size, that size of truck, with armed guard, and they got in. And they got in. And he got fined $110,000. They closed he closed the business down, and that was the end of that. He deserved that because the way that he took care of Cal-OSHA and his business was terrible. But they want to get in. That's an extreme case. Don't think about it happening to you guys. It's not going to happen to you guys. They want to get in. That's their mindset, is they want to get in. On the other hand, let me say this. There are some real cool enforcement officers. People ask me a lot, Dave, can we call the consulting side? And I said, well, I could tell you yes or no if I knew who you were going to get. But since I don't know who you're going to get, I can't tell you yes or no. That's going to be up to you. I have seen the consulting side come out that's supposed to help employers, and they've been stricter and harsher and more domineering than the enforcement team. So and that's really the whole thing with Cal-OSHA right now. You really don't know what you're going to get. I don't know what I'm going to walk into. Oh, here's a couple other things real quick. What I really hate about what's going on today, and it makes it really, really hard, is that Cal-OSHA is way, did I say way behind? Because I meant they are way behind. They are taking minimum of 8 months to over a year to settle these small cases and bigger ones too. My point is, as I defend my clients, how am I supposed to remember, even with good notes, what happened 9 months ago? So they're slow, they're way behind, and I'm saying all of that to increase your awareness that you need to do some business with the safety stuff that's going on. Be a good idea to track 2 years worth of safety training topics so that you can document you have it. It'd be a good idea to make sure that you're doing your Cal-OSHA log 300 every year, which is your injuries from the year before. And you say, well, wait a minute, Dave, I don't have 10 employees. I go, I know you don't, but here's the deal. The enforcement team's going to ask for it, whether you have 10 employees or not. It's a sheet of paper. is it worth drawing a line in the sand for a sheet of paper that takes 2 minutes to 5 minutes to do? I don't think so. There's a time and there's a place to draw a line in the sand, and that little Cal-OSHA 300 log A is not the place. All right, guys.
So Dave,
think that's-
before you do that though, I wanted to touch on the indoor and outdoor heating programs, and also the exhaustion, the outdoor exhaustion. Yeah. The the summer is coming for most of us, and it's going to. Can you touch on that a little bit? See if what is it that we really need to, especially like in your own area, David Fischer, your Fresno area. It's going to, it's usually hotter than normal.
Right.
What are the things that the shop owners can do to prevent that, or what is it that they need to be looking out for? I mean, just give us a little bit of a couple of few tricks that you have up your sleeve.
Well, there's very few shops that actually monitor it exactly the way that Cal-OSHA would like you to. But that doesn't mean that you can't monitor it. Keep track of, first of all, get a heat illness prevention program. Get an indoor and an outdoor one. And then when we put them together, we go over them with our clients and we help them to use them. And then as part of what we do for our clients during the year, we provide the safety training topics that Cal-OSHA requires with that program, because we want to make compliance easy. There's enough to do as it is. So anything that we can do like that involving the programs that we provide for our clients, we provide them with the safety training for their employees. We will talk with them and strategize how to use that program so that they can actually do it in a way that is bearable. And that's kind of like what we live for, because it's too much to do. They're complicated, and they got, you got to watch the weather, you got to watch this, you got to watch that. So, I mean, we send out newsletters, we send out safety training topics to deal with it. We cover every safety training topic that is like a standalone item that we can, so you guys have it.
I mean, this kind of proves what we were talking about earlier, that it's a location sensitive topics, that certain places get hotter than others, and so therefore your advice or your coaching would be a little bit different in different places.
Well,
So,
if you're in Monterey, for example, when are you going to have a hot day over 100 degrees? And also, here's the other thing: it's not you, the employer, who's not trying to do what's right. I have a client that you guys all know in San Jose who got caught up in the underground economy sweep just about a month ago. And the lady that came in asked him for an outdoor heat prevention program. Now, the client that I was talking to you about earlier in the program, they were from Placentia, California. And they asked for the indoor. So, like I said earlier, that's why I'm saying that's what it all gets back to, is because Cal-OSHA is not consistent, and yet you still have to deal with them. That's why you need somebody else. So,
see. So, is that? Did you have anything else that you wanted to say? Do you have, Dave? Do you have any pertinent information, any other than that, or?
No, but like I said, if anybody wants to meet with me, I will bring out these lists. We will go over them as if it was a Cal-OSHA inspection. We will actually sit down in the piece of your business. We will go through them. We will look at your shop. Now, I cannot give you the same inspection that my clients pay for. That would be wrong. I can't take pictures. I can't document it. I can't give reports. So if you say, hey, Fisher, come out here, let's go over these forms together and talk about it, I will do that with you. I will also do the walkthrough through your shop. But all I'm going to do with that, because I have clients paying for that service, is I will call out what I see. And if you bring a notepad, you'll get them. And I'll give them to you that way. But I can't write it down and I can't take pictures because that's what my people pay for. And I can't do that.
Do you know the percentage of inspections, if they have actually gone up from years before? Or is it just is it about the same every year? Do we have that?
No, they're up now because they've been off for 2 years, about a year before this. And so the problem with them being out in force, which they are, there's no doubt about that. The problem is they're not equipped to handle it because they're so far behind. They don't even know, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. So it makes getting these cases settled a lot more difficult and challenging. And that's why I tell everybody, man, if you can just get through the inspection without much more than, some real easy stuff, you're miles ahead. Because what bothers me the most about all of this right now is there used to be the days, and some of you guys know me because some of you guys have known me for a long time, and you know that I used to say, you don't want to get caught up in these $60,000 to $100,000 to $200,000 fines. I'm not as concerned about the big fines anymore because the fines aren't quite as big anymore. But what I really don't want, and I don't think you want, is Cal-OSHA hanging over your business head for 9 months to 14 months on a $15,000 violation. I don't, and that's what I'm seeing. That's what's out there. I work with attorneys, and the attorneys and I, we both scream bloody murder because we were promised this and we were promised that by Cal-OSHA in the midst of negotiating this, and then it doesn't happen. So that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, so they're getting aggressive with inspections, and so we really need to get in front of this as much as possible. Most of these things are sort of a common sense type things, I think, but even myself, I'm out of common sense sometimes. So, but
Well,
anyway,
except for the circuit panels, nobody would expect the circuit get fined for having a flipping circuit panel open,
yeah,
or unmarked, are the blanks in. I mean, there's a lot. There's just a lot.
yeah. Nitty-gritty stuff, the small stuff that you wouldn't even consider that they were important, So we have Dave Fischer from California Employers Services. His email address is CESE
So CESYES 2,
2@AOL.com.
correct.
Sorry about that. And the phone number is 559-284-1912.
Yep.
I wanted to thank Dave for being here and giving us the information that is going to help us to make our decisions. Every business, every location, every planning of that person, the plan of the shop is totally different. It's very difficult to be generic on these sort of things. So it's advisable for you guys for anyone to get a hold of Dave so you can be a little bit more accurate on his decisions or on his advice.